Hey guys, Dib the Awesome here to give you yet another Monster Legends Monster First Impressions video. These are a little different than guides, and if anything, they are just like Dib's journals, except I just do. Well, it's like with the journals, I have used them for a while. It's different than the guides because the guides they're not released yet and or like like, I just haven't used them yet. With journals, I have used the monster in full. With this segment, I haven't used it at all. So these are first impressions and just initial thoughts and or statements. I would like to thank Gabe. He is an ML artist. He draws stuff, and he draws a lot of cool stuff. He's a really nice guy. Thank you for donating me the rest of the cells. And if you did happen to like if anyone else is on my team that's on the that watches my stuff and has also donated stuff without telling me anything, thank you. That was nice of you. So this is Viperhotep. If you don't know your ML facts, this is the first fire denier with a speed that didn't suck. Like 412 is all right, but in terms of a modern speed, it doesn't cut it. It's not good enough anymore unless you're like ranked up like Thedes. It's just not acceptable. It's too slow of a speed. But you can run it. I'm saying that Viper Hoftet speed isn't terrible. It's also an AoE stunner with a here's the hugest thing about it though. Okay, so I just said it's a fire denier. That's pretty huge. I just said it did AoE stunning. That's really neat. But what's the hugest thing? Well, believe it or not, a few days ago, I was actually contemplating, just kind of like, wanting. I was like, I kind of want a monster. I kind of want a monster that's immune to possession that could stun. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you that monster. Viperhotep, the king, the Shah. Uh, uh, old, uh, old Viper Man. Viper Man. Yes, I'm enjoying my game experience. I have rated you guys. I have indeed rated the game. So this is Viperhotep in his baby form. Which looks pretty cool. That's pretty cool. uh, let's call him. Let's call him. Uh, let's call him. We already have Lizard Wizard. That's already been a thing. Let's call him. Let's call him. I'm just like deep in thought here. I'm usually good with naming monsters. I haven't really thought of a name for this monster yet. Let's name him. Uh, to be decided. How about the um Ghost Pepper? Ghost Pepper, yeah, Ghost Pepper, Ghost Peppers, Ghost Pep Peepers, Ghost Peeper. No, 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 no. That's not a good one. Let's call him Rango. Rango? No. No, 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 no. No. No, Rango. Hot tamale. No, 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 no. No, not hot tamale. How about sizzling? Sizzling. 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 That's the name. Sizzling. Sizzling. I'm the master. Alright. ML, I'm ready. Hire me. I'll be your guy's namer. I'll be the official namer of all your monsters. Sizzle. Sizzle. Funny joke. Funny joke. Alright. But as you can see here, he is immune to possession, and he does able to do stunning. I felt like, in all honesty, I was just kind of thinking, for the most part, since, like based on his category, he'd have to deal with a lot of Igursises at rank 5. So I was thinking at the aspect of, well, if he's not controlling Igursis, then Igursis could kind of just do whatever he wants and possibly kill any unranked Viperhotep naturally. That's a duh statement. Odds are he'd use Etna on it or just nearly kill it just by natural, like, even if the damage is weak. Uh, but I didn't really consider the fact that Viperhotep would be really, really great against the other two monsters on the team, and odds are you could just bring monsters from those other two elements to just counter Igursis. Like you could just bring another, like a specific denier for that Igursis, and you'll be just fine. You could run another monster immune to possession, possess Igursis, and you would be good. I feel like that's something you could do. Like Scribe, for example. If you guys like watched my last stream, I said a real highlight compared like Scribe is like has like an extra turn skill, right? He's got an extra turn skill, so that means he can go into different plays. He could possess the Igursis, and based on your situation from there, you can go on off of that. He also holds a potion, like an essence and an amulet. Your boy Viper here can hold a amulet as well, along with a staff. So you could run a healing amulet, and depending on that situation, you could run either the stamina draining staff or the stamina regen staff, depending on how you want to play it out, to counteract with the enemy's relics. If they're not running stamina regen, you could run just the stamina drain, and they for sure can't do anything. I will say if you run the stamina draining staff, it does pair very, very well with Viperhotep because he has energy leak, I believe, right? Stamina leak, yeah. He has the stamina leak. He's got the spicy stamina leak. He's a sizzling. Oh my god, that's just so good at naming. So good at naming. I am the king. I am. Snap, you might just call me fair. Deals very heavy special damage to one enemy, applies stamina leak to one enemy. Uh, he has a lot of stamina leak skills. He's got a lot of it. Besides the AoE stunning, he's able to reapply burns and stamina leak. I find that pretty huge, because that means it's not easy to clean his effects. Applies stun to one enemy, applies burn to one enemy. This is on a 4-turn cooldown. Uh, oh, but it also costs 0 stamina. I think that's lovely. That's a huge drawback that's on a 4-turn cooldown. I think that's acceptable due to the fact it's all like it doesn't cost any. My boys, it doesn't cost a cent of stamina. That's amazing. If you're in a really terrible bind, that's amazing. Like to be able to do that, that's crazy. I think I'm gonna keep Fiery Trap. This is looking pretty good. Sadly, I don't have any decent speedruns to give this man. There's a lot of deniers at the moment that I have that don't have good speedruns. I'm not too torn about it though, because they're at 100. So they very rarely can I actually use these things. It's really hard to bring an unranked monster into the fight unless you've met certain conditions, like you have really good speed on your ranked up denier. You could bring this as a sub. I guess a good way, like if you know you're not gonna really outpace any monster, you have like a really good denier, right? But you know you're never gonna outpace anything. Just run it with team speed. You can just get like team speed from the shop. And in all honesty, we just got the team shop update again. And just based on what I'm looking, I always hate the shop. It never seems to be anything worth buying besides Dharma's bodyguard, Nishan's bodyguard, and Jalinar's or Shinara's bodyguard. Yeah, Shinara's bodyguard. So if you're already done with Dharma's bodyguard, and you don't really care about the other two, work on some team stamina level 7s. That's a good idea. Removes positive status effects from one enemy. Spammable. Useful. Tempting. 50% chance to burn and stun someone. I don't think I need Pharaoh Mage. Stamina leak and burn to all enemies. This is an AoE. It's on a 2-turn cooldown. Doesn't do any damage. I guess we would run this, right? Yeah, over this skill. The hugest cast is it doesn't do any initial damage. I guess I don't really mind that. Do sapping venom. Why not? I think this was the skill that went well with the staff relic. Yeah, because of the stamina leak that applies. He's got quite a few ways to apply stamina leak. Apply stun to all enemies. This is the skill you gotta run on him. There is no exception. You should be running this skill. This is the AoE stun. This is why he is such a great monster. Because again, you wouldn't think a monster that's immune to possession that can stun might not seem all that great. It's actually really huge. It is really, really, really good. I was even I was just contemplating on it last where I was like, oh man, I wish I had a possessor that was not possessor, a monster immune to possession, but stuns instead of possession. It is really great in those situations because you cancel out at least two of the monsters, and if even the enemy goes, they're running like a possessor as their main deny. They can't really do anything to Viperhotep, and the other monster you bring, odds are it's going to be another monster immune to possession. So you can just possess their Ursus and just kind of play around. It's really great. It's really good. Again, I think this is just my vision of it right now. Again, this is kind of like my first impressions, but I feel like that's how most war games would go. You would, if the enemy goes first, let them go first. They can't really possess you. If it's just a possessor on defense for their main support, they can't do anything to you. Or at least like two of your monsters. If it's like if you brought like a Ursus without protection, a whole nother story. But as long as you bring like maybe like a fellow Joustar, let's say for some reason you could bring Joustar to the fight. Just bring your Joustar, counter their Joustar. I suppose worst case scenario they do immune to possession for their Ursus. But for the most part, I think they would go for possession turn one to possess your Ursus. And I feel like you could play around that. I think that again that's just AI play, but like extremely good AI play would be do the immunities first. So that way they for sure guaranteed protection on Ursus. This might be the setup. I want to keep the remove positive effects. It is relatively nice to have. I always seem to be in those situations where removing positive effects is greatly ideal. I would like to not see that be a thing anymore. Deals very heavy fire damage to one enemy, burns all enemies. This is on a 2-turn cooldown. Burns all enemies. Do I really need... the true question is, do I really need this? Probably not. I'm not even going to build damage on him. So I don't think I need it. I don't think I need it. I just do sapping venom. One really nice thing I do like with this man, his stamina cost seems to be pretty close to non-existent on the non-existent scale. So that's really great. That is actually really huge. His stamina costs aren't even that high, if not non-existent. That's amazing. That's really great. That's really, really great. That like you could even run, like let's say you're running like the Kihaku, stamina or life regen skill. That has that's like the old school energy regen. You would still get value off that. Like you'd still be able to, if you do this setup, you would still get value off that. You'd be able to do either sapping venoms Or yeah, you do your AoE or your sapping fangs. Or if you're running this heavy fire damage skill that burns everyone. Craziness. Now, I think the number one problem with any monster that just relies on stunning is they really can't chain stun. Uh, well, you can. In all honesty, you can theoretically chain stun, but that requires another person's up. You would basically you would have to stun them. They then they move. They have their turn. They're denied, and then your monster that removes positive effects goes, and then you remove the recently stunned. That's how you chain stun. But as you can see there, that takes a little bit of specific setup. So not 100% of the time people do that. But when you do that, it is capable of chain stunning. Uh, you see, if Discopolis actually had a really great speed stat, you would see that more often, but you don't. You don't see the Discopolis plays. But if he did have like a Discopolis, he went and everyone else got their turn in, and then you removed the positive effects. You can just continue to stun people. I think Discopolis is one of the few monsters in the game capable of actually chain stunning. But in a situation, he'd have to be in a situation where he would go first and everyone else would go after, like the whole enemy team would, and then you could continue to do the stun combo forever. And I feel like that's awesome. Because again, he doesn't have cooldowns on his AoE stun or any of his skills, so it's really nice on an AoE scaling. But back to this, I don't think I need this particular skill. Stamina leak. Don't need it. I think this is the setup. Again, we're running Sapping Fangs for specifically for Igursus matchup, so we can remove Vesivus. I feel like, and there's really nothing better to do after that, you know. After we do the stun, let's say Igursus does a setup, you might as well just go for that, you know. Might as well go for the Sapping Fangs, remove Vesivus, and then your attacker can do whatever it wants. A lot of situations when as soon as Igursus does Vesivus and you don't have him possessed for whatever reason, uh, it's nice to be able to remove that Vesivus with Viperhotep here, and then go for KO damage. I think the biggest drawback though is if you miss. If you miss, the attack will go back at you, and odds are kill you. So just keep that in mind. But so as long, it doesn't seem likely to miss though, because since it's a single target skill, it's got a 95% accuracy of landing. So that's a thing. But yeah, this is skill. Let's just finish leveling this up here. I think it's taking me like a bit longer. Words a bit longer because again I'm in deep thought, but it's pretty relevant thought. This is kind of what we do for these things. The last impressions video that I have done was on Fatted. So this is the most recent one. The last one was a stream. This one's just a solid video. Burning all enemies. Or one enemy and then burn everyone. Damage one enemy, burn everybody. But yeah, this is the build. This is the build we're going for, my boys. Relics. Now you have a few options here in terms of relics. A maxed out obliteration staff. I think that's a good pickup. Depending on your matchup, pick up the things that the enemy hasn't prepared for. If they have a stamina regen relic, there is no point to even bother with this. There's like none. I think the only time that the only ones you should probably do if you want to do a draining staff is probably one of those either the avenging energy staff, where it takes a random person's stamina, or just like a specific monster and it's on the monster that has the stamina recovery relic, like a Thetis. Let's say for a Thetis, for example, that doesn't proc until her next turn. But you kind of see how pointless that is because for the most part, Thetis goes for stamina devours first. But let's say if it wasn't a monster that wasn't Thetis, that's basically the scenario. They would go, they hit you, they lose the stamina, they don't get they don't get their stamina till their turn in. If you kill that monster before they get their turn in, and for some reason another monster attacked you, that's gonna proc the revenge staff or avenging staff again. You'll probably get another monster hit, and then they won't get any of their stamina back. But if they're running double recovery items, again, it's really no point to drain stamina. You might as well counter if they're gonna go for it. So Energizer staff I think is a good item to go for, or the legendary relic if you have it. Legendary relic is pretty good. Let's see here. Oh, it doesn't actually take me to the relic page. I actually have to go to it. I think you should run this monster with full speed. For sure. Run it with full speed and words. So like even if you again, I guess it depends on the situation, what rank you have it at. But the main idea is to just deny the other two monsters. It's not going to do anything to the enemy fire monster unless it's like I don't know, a oh man, I already forgot the whatever the guy. I already forgot what's this monster's name. It's dude, I'm just kind of lost right now because I've been lost on thought all day. Igneous, yeah. If they're running Igneous, as long as they're not running an immune to stun or mounted monster, I think you're good. But the main idea is just to deny the other two monsters, which are probably either immune to possession monsters or monsters that have hardened. With the amulet slot, I feel like the amulet slot is fantastic with Viperhotep, just to have that life sustain. It works really well. Hit with his burning DOT, his one DOT thing that he may put on an enemy. That gives him stall potential. It gives him healing. I recommend maxing out your bronze healing relic, your bronze healing amulet. When you have that, max that out right away. It's actually good on a lot of monsters. It gives you a lot of life. For being a bronze relic, it gives you 20k. That's really great in terms of recovery. As soon as you hit 50%, that is pretty good. So level that up. I don't think I'm gonna put it on him right now. Can I even use him in the upcoming war? Is that a thing? Good legions. I don't think Viperhotep was good. Was it good? Yeah. So I guess not next war. No. Speaking of relic chains, I better change that. There are relics that I need to change. But I suppose I can fix that. I can fix that after the vid. So we'll fix that after the vid. But yeah, you would run obliteration staff. For sure run the healing amulet, and then run stamina recovery on the staff. And or if you're not running the stamina recovery and you're running the stamina draining staff, run the stamina recovery amulet. If you know you're not going to die when one hit, if you know you're going to take like several hits and possibly die, pick up the healing amulet instead. I think the risk with this is you might not be able to do anything if you don't get first punch, and they're running like obliteration staff to drain all your stamina. So you got to be careful with that. But for the most part, you should be able to play it out, depending on the situation. After being hit, yeah, so this is a good one. I like this. I like the revenge staff. I like the avenging revenge staff that takes random stamina. Stamina from one random enemy, which I find useful. So you would so for this fire monster here, for good old Viperhotep. Sizzling. I know he says garbage speeds, but this is just what we have at the moment for him. I plan on changing that. Oh man, speaking of changing, I gotta get this set up for tomorrow. I forgot about it. Let's Rune Lords tomorrow. When I get like a level 5 rune, hopefully I can make that level 5 into like a level 6 speed, my boys. But yeah, that's the rune setup. We're gonna go to adventure map here, just to showcase kind of like setup. We'll even play. I guess playing pretend. We'll find like hopefully we can find like a node that has a monster that's immune to. We're probably not gonna get that. So let's just. Oh, this one's immune to possession. This is a good example, I think. All right, so let's say they have an Agursis. All right, so you have you are running the that's a weird setup too. Like if they're able to run Igursis, because I think they're in the same book too. I think they're both in undead and evil legions. So maybe you could only ever use one. But yeah, even I guess even if it's you can only ever use one in this situation, and the other enemies just like running Igursis, and they're relying on possession for the most part. Just bringing Viper like a full team of immune to possession, you'll be able to stun the enemy. So we're just gonna keep it Igursis, but let's bring a possessor here. We'll bring your boy Carlton Jr. Alright, so Brynhilda here is immune to possession. So we're not going to be able to possess Brynhilda here. That is fine, for it does not matter. Now you have two options. Now for the words. The possessor would be only covering. Let's pretend let's pretend Agursis is in the middle here. Let's say we'll just use the let's just pretend the Viperhotep's like the possessor. So you've AoE stunned these two monsters, and all you have to do at this point is probably just single target possess Agursis. That's all you really need to do, and have your attacker clean house. So, single target, guaranteed denial, and then your monster cleans house. Your attacker cleans house. Obviously, these results vary depending on the rank of your attacker and your runes you're running on them, but for the most part, things should go your way. If this comp was really possession heavy, I always recommend bringing something that gives immune to possession for Agursis, so you really don't have to worry about it. But let's say you are in that scenario, you're very unprepared for it. If you let the enemy possess your Agursis, that's just a terrible thing to do. But again, if you're just bringing a full team of immune to possessions, you should have a relatively easy game. So now what we do at this point is we can actually, okay, so remember when I said about like chain stunning? This is actually a really rare example of you being able to do so. So our boy Galante Jr. is going to get another turn in. So we're going to go for Sapping Fangs here. We can remove that stun and then stun her again. This is chain stunning. You don't see it all that often, but this is how you chain deny with stun. It's often referred that you can't really chain stun. What they really mean by that is it's not a natural thing to do, like freezing or possessing. You have to work for it in order to chain stun. You can chain stun in the game, but it takes effort. It takes specific comps and specific turn orders. You basically the enemy has to go all before like after your denier, and then your remove positive effects goes. Then if your denier has another stun skill, then they can chain stun. But for the most part, this is kind of that's how that kind of goes. uh, I think that was. I wish I had like a perfect setup for it, like a perfect node to do, but I don't think I do, unless I worked like really really hard for it. But that's how most games should go about when you run Viperhotep. I think Viperhotep is really 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 good. What's his natural speed? Wasn't like 498. I think his speed was like 498. He's got a really great speed for a denier. Now, based on what we see for defense comps, we usually just see a Gersis and 476. Okay, so he's not as fast as I thought. He's running at 476, not 498. So he's kind of there with Kihaku. That's about as fast as he goes. So we'll put that all back on there. But just like a fine addition to the category. I was talking about the defenses, what we usually see. So just for that category, we could also pull out the books here. So he's in Undead and Evil Legions. For the most part, if it's an Undead book, you'll probably see an Agrisis. I don't think there's really much alternatives for undead choices. If you don't see a Gersis, you'll probably see like Undertaker. I think that's a good counter setup. Like a Viperhotep, I believe, counters the old Undertaker. I actually don't see him. Is he not? Is he actually not undead? Oh, it's Underworld. That's right. He's Underworld, not undead. Oh, yeah, he's Underworld. So he's still got a few good matchups here. Yeah, I'd say he's got quite a few good ones that he could write home to. Let's see here. Yeah, he still covers Undertaker. He can still cover Undertaker. He can cover Keythor. I think Keythor's a really great tank, one of the best tanks in the game, if not the best tank, in terms of just sponging damage. This guy could sponge damage for days, especially if you took the time to rank him up. Just a wall. He'd be able to cover Keythor with stunning. I believe that's a thing. He'll be able to cover Nishant's bodyguard. Good counters against Viperhotep. I think Ragniel has the Celestial trait, which makes him immune to stun, all forms of stun, like stun and mega stun. So you can play around with that. See that Agrisis there? That's what you'll usually see at rank 5. Really dangerous stuff. If I get everyone from 5 to 5 here, I get like a 4. I get 4 stamina runes. It's crazy. I was just looking at rewards for a sec. Yeah, he's just relatively good. Lamuna, he can pick up a stun, hit on Lamuna, so it's a good answer to that. I don't think Lamuna is faster than Viperhotep, so yeah, if you're fighting a denier, Lamuna, you'll outpace her by just several points of speed if you're running the same relic setup. Not relic setup, rune setup. But yeah, another thing you could do is run full team speed. He doesn't really have, like, if you're not gonna run him full speed, run him full team speed. He doesn't really have any, you know, buffs or anything like that. But he has a lot of debuffs like stamina leak and the whole stunning aspect. He's got denial, and he can run as like a debuffer, like just like a debuffer. I'd say, yeah, you could run him debuff. Yeah, I think that's in terms of my knowledge to give to you at the moment for my first impressions. That's kind of about it. Overall, I think the monster is really, really fun. I think that it is very, very useful. It is extremely useful for competitive play. You should probably get Viperhotep. because he just works well with so many teams. You have no, again, you have no idea how valuable a possessor, like something that's immune to possession that has AoE stunning as its main deny. You have no idea how useful that is. It is really, really great, especially if you can build like just like a full anti, like immune to possession team where the enemy is relying on possession. It is really, really great. So counters for Viperhotep, just basically if you're on like full immunity, you just stun and they're just kind of banking on the stun, you kind of just counter it then. You can run anything over the speed. Advanced possession, you can use advanced possession like if for whatever reason Glitch is faster than a Viperhotep, you could, advanced control. Hackster, I think, is a better example. So yeah, if you're running against a Hackster who runs the same speed, but if they're running the better runes, they can advance possess you, and it would be speed game then. Uh, but yeah, that's genuinely about it. I hope you guys really, really liked this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. I'm Dib the Awesome, and I'll catch you guys later.